So I think we should start, right? So let's start. I think so. Okay. So for all the viewers who are going to watch this video, I think a little bit of introduction on why we are doing this video today. A little bit about the speakers on the call, and then we will start discussing the points. So let me just set the context that in our experience, when we have been interacting with most of the students and freshers who come for jobs, we felt that most of them do not have any proper decision making mechanism in terms of what course to choose, which career path to take, because they are mostly guided or influenced by the people around them or their parents or their friends. And after finishing studies, they realize that the course that they had taken or the career path they had chosen is either not of their choice or it doesn't resonate with them. And then they are stuck. So they start taking odd jobs and then take a lot of time to correct their career path. So we felt that we should have a video where we talk to people who come from HR industry, who have experience in handling these kind of discussions, get their views and get some answers for all the students and young professionals who want to take up a career path. Plus also a little bit about how real is the threat of this unemployment and AI taking over jobs. We're going to discuss a little bit about that. So let me introduce to the speakers. First, starting with me, I am the founder of Pep Talks, the channel on which we upload videos every week for guiding freshers and young professionals, starting right from how to prepare your profile, the do's and don'ts of interview, what to do in your first job, what to not do, and some bit of tips for young professionals in terms of how to handle stress, how to manage work life. I have about 32 years of corporate experience. I started my career in sales, then I was in training, then I was in BPO, managing operations for voice and non-voice. I handled RPO and service delivery. So, and Peter, who's the first speaker on this call, Peter has been a close friend of mine. We both go back about 20 years. Both of us worked together for a long time. Peter is the founder of Fluent Talk, where he is passionate about teaching English to rural students, which he's going to talk about a little bit. He is also the co-founder of Stratton Consulting Private Limited, and he's going to introduce about that company also to us. So a little bit about Peter. Peter is a seasoned professional. He is a business leader with over 3 decades of experience in managing large teams, building high performance cultures and scaling recruitment and operations across industries and global market. Now, Peter has consistently delivered some of the best retention rates in the industry by nurturing, developing, and inspiring his teams. Until 2024, he served as a Chief Business Officer, Recruitment at TMI Group. TMI Group is a HR consulting company based out of Hyderabad, where he led large-scale hiring across BFSI, IT, pharma, manufacturing, and FMCG, while also expanding business in Germany, Japan, and UK. He now runs 2 entrepreneurial ventures, as I mentioned earlier, one into HR consulting and recruitment, that is the Stratton Consulting Private Limited, and the other focus on teaching spoken English to rural school children, blending his passion for people, purpose, and performance. Now, Sampath, let me introduce Sampath. Sampath is also a very dear friend of mine. We both have worked together earlier in our career. Sampath Samudrala is the founder of Gawker Consulting Private Services and a leadership consultant with more than 30 years of experience, spanning FMCG, BFSI, education, and consulting sectors. He has trained over 25,000 individuals, ranging from graduate students to top executives, helping them unlock their potential and navigate key career transformations. Sampath specializes in building trust-driven cultures, strengthening frontline capacity, and developing strategies for organizational growth. His story-led coaching style, paired with practical insights, enables people and businesses to bridge the gap between academic learning and professional success. This is something I've been witness to because I've attended quite a few training sessions of Sampath, so I can vouch for that. And through Walker Consulting, Sampath ensures that students and professionals are equipped not only for immediate corporate challenges but also for long-term career progression. So, having introduced both the speakers, let me welcome both. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Sampath, for taking out time today. I think this session is going to be very valuable for giving some support and guidance to all the freshers and young professionals. So, over to you if you both can introduce a little bit about your companies.
Thank you, Shashi. And thank you for that introduction. And I think the topic you've chosen is very relevant because we interact with a lot of freshers as part of our job and our professional career. I want to set this context correctly. But before that, you've already introduced me. At Stratton Consultants, we are HR consultants to quite a few MSME companies. And we also run the recruiting practice for mostly for IT and BFSI. And over time, we plan to start manufacturing and pharma. Fluent Talk is more of a CSR venture where we are helping rural, mostly girl kids, to pick up spoken English. Okay, so that's how. But having completed the introduction bit of it, I just want to give a bit of a background on what we are trying to attempt. Okay, I was reading an article where in India every year we are graduating almost 1 crore graduates. Okay, this is both engineering stream and non-engineering stream put together. Okay, and we know that since we worked in the corporate sector for many decades, there are not so many jobs in the market. Okay, current year's report says that 83% of engineering graduates have not landed their job yet. Okay, so this 2025 report. And non-engineering graduates, it's about 46%. Okay, so many people passing off and not finding a job. And what do they do to make sure, forget finding their job of choice, but finding a job which pays them reasonably well for them to run their home is a challenge. Okay, and today's children have to, irrespective of the course they take, they have to equip themselves with a lot of cross-functional skills, adaptability, ability to learn things on the job, and good, strong communication skills and problem-solving skills. Without these and additional certifications, they will struggle to find a job. Okay, so with that, I want to invite Sampath to give opening comments.
Thank you, Shashi and Peter. Peter, as you very rightly said, more than getting an employment, sustaining the employment has become a challenge today. At Gauker Consulting, we are consulting with MSME companies of varied industries, and we are trying to help them not just get people on board, but make people productive and ensure that their careers are taken care of. When I was discussing with many of our clients, whether you talk about the MSMEs or even the large-scale GCC companies and then banking and financial services companies, the one thing what I come across quite often is more than getting people on board, sustaining people on board is becoming a challenge. Either people walk out because the expectations and reality is not matching, or the employer asks them to quit because he is not happy with whatever is being delivered. Why it happens, and then how do we ensure that this gap is bridged such that the employer gets good employees on board and who deliver the kind of services expected? Not just that, as Peter said, getting employment is a challenge. And after getting on board, sustaining and maintaining that and trying to have a career progression becomes more important. So where are we going wrong and why are we having this challenge? These students need to have a better understanding. And that is the reason Gaukar has come out with another wing called Now LA, where we are trying to educate students in the various MBA and engineering colleges on the opportunities what they have and how they should prepare for the opportunities and things like that. See, the end of the day, kids just get carried away by either their peers or, as Peter said, by the opinion of their parents. Instead of they evaluating and trying to take their decisions, I think that is the important requirement of the day today.
True. Thank you, Sampath, and thank you, Peter. So I have a list of questions based on whatever interactions we've been having with candidates and freshers. So I would like to pick your mind on that. So, Peter, starting with you, what do you think should be the basis on which a person should pick up which degree or masters they should pick up? Because as everybody agrees on this forum, I think they don't have a proper way of deciding as of now. It is just the influence of friends and family as of now. So, what is your view on that?
Very rightly put, Shashi. Bulk of the decision making for children is being driven by their parents or what their friends are taking. Okay. Primarily, if you take the bulk of the students going into either they pick engineering or non-engineering. Okay, they want to become a basic graduate in BA, BCom or something. I would suggest if the student is good in STEM, okay, and if he has an aptitude and a liking for those subjects, then engineering does offer them a good opportunity after they pass out. But engineering from any campus where the faculty is not good, the exposure is not good, the kind of companies coming to that campus for recruitment are not good, is and even within engineering, it's always a toss up between the core engineering like manufacturing um, streams versus today, computer science, electronics, and AI, and data sciences and all of that. So those courses, if you have the aptitude to be at that level, because the quality expectation once they pass out, when they get to the work, is definitely increased. Okay, no longer engineering graduates can assume that they'll get absorbed into some IT services companies where their quality, poor quality, will not be found out. Today, it is being found out very, very quickly. For non-engineering track also, there are a lot of entry-level jobs which are good to start off with, but over time they stagnate unless the kid does something beyond the graduation. Okay, so my recommendation is they have to check where is their natural aptitude at, and also their interest. Okay, see where these two tie in together, then the kid naturally puts in the effort to understand everything about that subject and not just to focus on trying to pass the exam. Okay, so if he does that, then it's going to be holding him in good stead in his maybe entry level job and also in his future career.
Great. Sampath, as per your experience, is there any specific function where you see maximum job openings that people should look for and go for that?
Well, Shashi, as you heard from Peter, nowadays everybody ends up in doing BTech or BE or kind of courses, or they end up doing MBA or chartered accountancy kind of a select point. But what happens, when you pick up these kind of a specified courses, one thing, the competition increases and only the best will have better opportunities. And if you don't have that kind of a skill set, then sustaining will become a challenge in the competitive world. So if you go back and look into any industry, what is important is the revenue generation.
True.
Because the revenue generation is important, you go to any field, any organization, any industry, sales takes the topmost position. People shy away from the sales positions because there is no stability and people have a challenge and worry about it. But if you go back and observe the career graph, the fast-paced career graph, fantastic emoluments, great opportunities, even if you shift, are there in any industry because it is revenue generating. So if you ask me, yeah, that's the first option for whatever background you are. You are engineering, then for the engineering products, you are a commerce guy for the commerce product, whatever it is, sales becomes the important function. Then comes, if we are talking about the technical background students, as Peter said, there are a lot of things which are coming today like AI. Yeah. When those things are coming up, the only thing is you need to gear up and then you have to be technically skilled. So those are the opportunities. If I'm neither a sales guy nor a technical guy, then what are my options? Yeah. So that's where comes the operation roles. That's where comes the supply chain roles. Yeah. Operations, supply chains, and data analytics. Yeah. These are all the various kinds of the roles which are growing and which have a promising career. Yeah. For both the technical and non-technical background students.
Great. Okay, good to hear that sales is still the ever sort of career.
नहीं आप ये समझना चाहिए, जो भी इंडस्ट्री हो, yeah, whatever it is, the first thing is revenue generation. और revenue ले आने वाला है sales बंदा.
Yeah,
you got my point, and that's how they get priority in everything. But at the same time, they also are the first guys to be kicked off. You understand? So you have a challenge, and then when there is a possibility for a growth, there is a possibility for a dip, and we need to be mentally prepared to take it.
And Shashi, if you take a longer term view, more than 75% of the top 500 corporates are actually the sales guys, those who started off in sales. Okay.
Yeah.
They go on to become the CEO of an organization. No HR head becomes a CEO.
True.
No, and I also think, Sampath, the reason why people are reluctant to go for sales is it's a very transaction intensive. That means you cannot sit in office and do work. Even though today a lot of things can be done at your desk, sales is not transaction intensive. I mean, you need to go out in the field. Even if you're doing digital sales, there is a lot of transaction involved in it. So I think people are scared because the rejections are higher. If you're doing physical sales, the door slams are higher, and there's a lot of fear of humiliation because you're treated not so great by people. Because in India, still, no matter how much we talk sitting here, people do not treat other people with respect. They judge people. So when a sales guy comes and he's wanting to talk to you, people brush them off. So somewhere I think that's the image in the mind of a student that if I go in sales, I have to go out in the field, people will treat me. I don't want to go that. And parents also are very protective. Parents would want to discourage their children because they think, why should he be put up with this hard work? But what they don't realize is that when you are in sales, when you start your career in sales, it actually makes your personality very different. Because you know how to strike a conversation with strangers, how to sell, how to understand body language of other people. I think so. I agree. Sales is going to be something it is ever sort of. I think.
No, Shashi, it is not that we are trying to promote or advocate sales, but what we are trying to say is that is the most important arm of any organization. Point one. The point two, when it comes to the rejection is concerned, people are worried the sales guy may influence them. You understand my point? They are not rejecting the person. They are worried about themselves that the sales guy may influence them and they don't want to be influenced. Let me tell you, we should never take it as a rejection. And because people are worried that they may get influenced by the salesperson because of their communication, because of their logic, because of the way they present it, they get worried. Yeah. So people who want to be in this career should never be worried about the rejection, and they should not look at the rejection. I say rejection is not rejection of you, but rejection of your product or rejection of your offer. If not this guy, because everything doesn't fit everyone.
True.
So, okay, it doesn't fit to this gentleman, doesn't matter. You just work on, go ahead and then look for another better alternate guy, should be the approach. If you have that, as Peter said, if you go and observe the CEOs of many of the organizations across India or even worldwide, or the people who have come from sales and business and not either HR or finance kind of things, but for in those specific industries.
True. Peter, one question for you. This question comes very often from freshers, that should I pick a stream which is currently hot and trending, or something that is innate skill and of my interest?
Okay, so the current phase we are in, Shashi, today everyone is speaking about AI. Okay, so I join a course with AI thinking that it is going to be hot after 4 years. It may not be the case. Okay? And things are changing very, very quickly. Okay. Having said that, there are, if you look at the last maybe 20 years, there are some roles and some functions they're going to stay. Okay. Whether they're going to be hot or not hot, the seasonal changes will apply. Okay. Having said that, the way you should pick your course is something which you naturally like it, and something for which you have a natural aptitude. Okay. And which is where it is a good idea for those, before you decide on which course, maybe they should speak to a few experts, maybe take an aptitude test or a personality profiling test, and then figure out which is the best one for them. Okay. Of course, if the best one comes out that is the course which is not going to be the most easiest, or the jobs there are very limited, then you need to take some mature counseling. Okay, so to pick the right course. But yeah, today something could be hot. We've seen in our own career in 30 years time, verticals, industries, roles going up and down, courses going up and down. So there used to be a time when ECL was set up, everyone did electronic engineering. Then when computers came in, then everyone started doing electronics and communication. But if you see in Infosys, 50% of them have not done computer engineering. They've done some engineering and picked up a course and got into Infia. So sometimes the reality of the job market drives you to take some actions. But in terms of picking the course, aptitude plus interest, if you take that together, you will be generally happy over a maybe 20-25 year lifespan of a corporate job.
Great. Sampath, so if people have joined and or if they are going to take a decision and they have a couple of options in their hand, the question that everybody has is that which path if I take, I'm likely to get growth faster, or at least get growth, because people, before even they start, they think, okay, will I be able to become a manager in 2 years, 3 years? How much will I be? Because that pressure is there on them. So any such opportunities where you think the growth is faster? I know that sales can be one, because if you perform well, of course, you are treated as a king. But apart from that,
See, Shashi, when you are introducing either Peter or me, or introducing yourself, you tell me that you stuck up to one industry or to one kind of a role all through our careers. Yeah. And as Peter very emphatically said, adaptability becomes the most important thing. When we are picking up a job or the first job or a subsequent job, the first and most important thing is it should line with your personality. you should like the one what you are going to pick up. Fortunately or unfortunately, your first job may not be the kind of the job what you want to do. In the campus, when you get selected, every time you may not get the kind of a job what you are looking for.
True.
And your first job is not going to be there for those 25 years what you are going to continue in your career. Because your first job is going to be a stepping stone. So what I suggest is, whether it is falling in line with my style of working or my style of expectations or my career ambitions, you need to look at that first and then pick up a role. But what I'm suggesting, the very first role what you choose cannot be the final thing, and one need not be worried about it.
Great. I think I'm in agreement with you on that. Yeah. Peter, so every parent wants their child to do BTech. Somehow इसका इंटर हो रहा है तो इसको डाल दो नारायण चैतन्य में डाल दो. Everybody wants their child to be an engineer. Whether it is for status symbol or whether in their mind they think career options are more better, I don't know. In this kind of scenario, will it be good if I choose a career path which I like, which is of my interest, but openings are less? Or should I go with the flow and join engineering?
See, engineering per se is a very good course to do, Shashi. There's nothing wrong in engineering per se. But are you having the aptitude to do engineering is question number one. From which campus are you doing is question number two. Okay. So if these two are, not the really good ones, then your chances are dwindling. Point number one. Point number two, okay, this culture of everyone doing engineering is Narayana and Chaitanya, milked millions from students, is because, India has become the global back office. Okay, so there are a lot of roles, but with AI coming in, a lot of those roles are becoming redundant. Okay, so today engineering talent also needs to be exceptional to really create an impact in whichever organization they join in. Okay, so that's my take. Okay, so first of all, should I do engineering because all my friends are doing, or because my parents are pushing me to do that? That's not a good idea. And in case you're not able to convince your parents, then maybe use your faculty or your friends or some counselor to convince them. But does engineering not have good entry level roles? It has very good roles. Opportunities are there. So pick and choose, what suits you.
I think also, if I were to look at today and the options available for people in terms of making a career are far more than what they were earlier, because earlier you had very few structured roles. And if I would have thought in my college days that I mean, when we used to talk to friends, somebody used to tell, I like to watch movies, I like to eat food, or I like to travel. And that time we used to tell, boss, खा के पैसे नहीं बनते हैं. But आज के दिन में देखो, there are people who becomes hotel reviewer or people who become travel blogger, and they made a career out of it. The MBA chai wala is a good example for everybody. So yeah, I think that traditional mindset needs a shift, and I think they need to be more open. Try to spend some time, understand what they are good at, what comes naturally to them, and when they are willing to struggle. See, the problem is, and this is something which I want to tell all the people who are going to watch. If you like doing something, that cannot be a career option, provided you are willing to invest in it and be excellent at it. Then I think it makes sense. So yeah, Sampath, one question for you. If I am in my final year of graduation or post graduation, I think graduation is more relevant here. Do you think there is any course that everybody should do so they are better equipped by the time they finish final year?
Yeah, see, as I said, these days, whatever the courses you are in, when you go for the employment, the first thing, as Peter said, with the AI coming in, you don't know what role you're going to handle. Yeah. And you need to be much adaptable when you go and pick up your employment in whatever industry. So once we should not go the way we are picking up the course, what you call your graduation stream. When it comes to picking up the course, also you need to be choosy on what is my interest level and what I want to pursue. Yeah, see, when you want to be successful in career, two things. One thing, you should be competent in that area, and even if you are competent, if you don't like it, it doesn't make sense. You should
True.
like and you want to grow there, and
Agreed.
then you should build your competency in that area.
Yeah.
For example, when we are talking about the engineering students, when they go into those areas, they need to have better certifications from either from Microsoft or from because IBM has certification programs, Google has certification programs, Microsoft has certification programs. Where I want to go, what is it I want to do, is the first thing what they should look at. When it comes to the non-technical guys is concerned, as I told you, they may go for a digital marketing area. They may go for a data analytics area. Yeah, come what may, whether you are from an engineering stream or a non-engineering stream, what I suggest is we should have basic, what you call MS Office kind of a certification programs, where you know how to study an Excel sheet, you know how to work on an Excel sheet, you know how to make a presentations, whether you are a sales guy or a product guy or a technical guy. End of the day, you need to analyze data, you need to present presentations and things like that. So working towards these kind of generic skills, whatever be your background, you need to have these kind of certifications. But when it comes to the specific technical skills are concerned, as Peter said, you need to take advice on what areas you want to progress, and based on that, you need to do. Not just because your college is sponsoring a program, not because your friends are doing a program. Yeah, that doesn't help. We need to pick and choose the one where we want to be.
True. True. And I also think if they are able to identify the courses, the learning options now are very easily available to them. They need not think that they need to invest a lot of money or they need to do a 4 hour, 5 hour training a day.
Not necessarily, not just
Yeah.
that. They don't even need to spend money. There are many of the platforms available today where you can do a lot of understanding, a lot of learning online. Just you need to just invest time, yeah, and explore, and then you get certified. You need not spend huge money. So it is not a challenge with the kind of investments or things like that. The only investment what these certifications or knowledge demands is your time and your dedication.
So replace your movie binging time or TV binging time with some learning. A simple mantra, I think.
Absolutely.
I think it is the real binging time.
Exactly, real binging time. You're right. So, Peter, if whatever course I pick, now every second day some speaker or some news article come that jobs are going to be taken off by AI. So whichever course I pick, will the job opening shrink in that area because of AI? That's a fear which most of the students are actually thinking because it's being fed into them.
It's both. Is the fear real, Shashi? Yes, of course it is real. Okay. But will it take away all the jobs? No, it's going to happen in a phase manner. But which is why it's see the today the bigger challenge, especially for young children, are that the available opportunities are limited, and against that we have too many children vying for it. Okay. So just to share from our experience, last year we were trying to place, uh, this was right after COVID, we were trying to place data engineers with one AI company. Okay.
Mhm.
And that company was willing to pull out all stops. In fact, joining bonus was a BMW bike. Okay.
Wow.
And in 3 months' time, all of them lost their jobs. Okay. All of them lost their jobs. And the same data guy who got a 100% hike from his earlier salary had to end up at maybe 75% of his earlier salary. So, yes, AI is going to shrink roles, but which is where um, it is giving new opportunities. Like prompt engineering seems to be a good course to pick during this time, because system can give you information or data based on the way you're going to interact with it and based on the way you're going to ask it the questions. Okay, so it is going to throw some new opportunities, but yes, AI is definitely reducing jobs. Okay, so earlier the clerical kind of roles, even in coding, Shashi, the testing roles is now being done by AI. Okay, so
Yeah.
today you
I-
don't find
If you
software testers. Okay.
if you permit me to add, Peter, AI will take away all the repetitive jobs. Yeah. So if you are a creative guy, and if you have that kind of a domain expertise in the area wherever you are, and if you can work towards developing the new AI applications, yeah, the creative guys will have more opportunities in the area. So if you want to be in that field, you need to build your creative skills on the respective domains, and then you should be able to build new ideas and new things like that, because the monotonous redundant kind of jobs will be done by AI, and that's going to be the order of the day, and then people should come with more ideas and more products in days to come.
Yeah. So I think the much before even we heard of AI, we had actually heard of RPA. And I think that is when people, it was a wake up call for a lot of people that, okay, all the monotonous tasks and repetitive tasks are going to be taken over by systems. And I think the saying is right that AI is not going to take your job in short term, maybe in the long term, but the person who is able to use AI will take your job in short term. Like prompt engineering, Peter was telling, if you know how to use it effectively, there is a possibility that you might actually knock off somebody's job. So yeah, in short term, that is likely to happen. So Sampath, if I think we spoke a lot about studies, which stream to pick and all. Now, if there is a campus interview happening, would you recommend the students to go for all the campus interviews that are happening, or be picky and choosy in terms of which career path to take and go only for those campus interviews?
Shashi, if you observe whatever Peter said so far, and I was talking about, we both are coming out with a very clearly that pick up something which you like, go to area which you will like and you want to pursue. Yeah. So considering that, it is not necessary that you need to go and pick up or attend to each and every interview which happens. But at the same time, in the name of picking up my choice, you should not be left with the very minimal options. Ideally, I would suggest at least about 60-70% of the interviews which are happening, you should attend. Yeah. Not to become more effective in these interviews or and all, what I'm trying to say, preparing yourself better, well in advance, understanding the organization and how closer to your requirement and your career ambition need to be evaluated. So when you are what you call shortlisting the kind of interviews what you want to attend, yeah, as I said, a minimum 60-70% of the interviews you need to attend, even if you have an offer in hand. Even if you have an offer in hand, you should attend about 60-70% of minimum interviews. That's what is my take.
Okay. Okay. So Peter, if I have finished my studies and I'm done with college, and the reason why a lot of people ask this, because this is something I wanted to ask, because I have seen profiles which are very weird. Some people make a half page profile, some people make a 2-3 page profile writing about each and everything. What is your recommendation on this for candidates who are passing out? How do they prepare a very good profile? Because our days were simple, frankly speaking. There used to be one format, biodata. I still remember एक biodata format रहता था, और उसके बाद थोड़ा प्रोग्रेस हुए तो एक साइबर कैफे में जाओ कि एक इंटरव्यू का एक फ्रेंड का रेज्यूमे लो, कॉपी करके दे दो. But today it is not so. So what is your recommendation for graduates?
Um, the reality on this side, Shashi. Okay. Please remember, your recruiter is receiving more than 100 CVs for that particular job role. Okay. Now your profile has to stand out the first scrutiny, which is a system itself does the scrutiny. Okay. Some criteria is given, the system checks it. Okay. And then the system checks after you meet the criteria, what are the additional criteria he meets. Okay. So this first one is called what is called the must criteria or the minimum criteria. The second one is the preferred criteria. Okay.
Yeah.
And which is where I think Sampath covered that point. Even I covered that point. During your graduation course or during your course, if you do not equip yourself with additional skills, certifications, something which projects which you are involved in, if you don't, if those things don't come into your profile, then probably you will miss out on um, your profile being picked for an interview. Okay, we are not even got to the interview. So your profile has to speak what is the value you will bring to the table if they call you for an interview. Okay, so definitely equip yourself with additional certification relevant to the role which you're and maybe customize your profile to suit the role. Okay, for example, if it is a back office role, don't say that I'm sales guy, sales guy, sales guy. The people will think this guy will not be interested in this role. Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a bit of customization, but don't again at the same time, don't uh, fill in, falsify your resume, because interviewers will find out like this. एक सेकंड में पता चल जाता कि इसमें तो प्रोफाइल में गैस है, बंदा से एक दो स्टेटमेंट निकल गया, पता चल जाता ओके ये किसी का कॉपी पेस्ट प्रोफाइल है करके.
True, true. So I think for all the people on the call and for all the people who are going to watch this video later, we have a detailed video on how to prepare your profile and how to prepare yourself for an interview. And the point that Peter was mentioning is that most of the organizations nowadays use ATS, which is an applicant tracking system. And the first level of filtering is done by the system. And the reason is because one job is posted, and against that job, they might receive around 500 to 1,000 profiles. So they don't want to lose time by a recruiter going manually through a profile. So it is configured in the system, it filters, matches some key thing, and throws it out. So that's what Peter was referring. And I think that has been our experience. So I think very, very important for you all to think about this. Sampath, how do I prepare myself for a first interview, whether it is in campus or off campus? अब मैं कॉलेज में हूँ तो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आई एम अज्यूमिंग कि आजकल के भी बच्चे कॉलेज में अलग मस्ती में रहते हैं. कुछ भी रहता है कॉलेज में, मैं तो कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ. बट जब इंटरव्यू आता है तो दे स्विंग बिटवीन टू. या तो वो लोग बहुत ही ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट रहते हैं या तो वो बहुत नर्वस रहते हैं. They fumble, they're not able to speak, some people start sweating. So as per your training till now, whatever you have done, what would you recommend that how do they prepare themselves for an interview?
You very rightly said either they will be too nervous or they will be too confident. Yeah. The reason, again, I'll go back to what Peter was talking about. I am going for a back office role and I'm talking about my sales attitude. Yeah. Whether it is in my resume or in my talk when I am presenting myself. Yeah. Or I don't have an answer. And when somebody asks me, tell me about yourself, I just go back and tell about what was my grandfather doing, what is my sister doing, what are my siblings doing, and what kind of a business family we are. No, the interviewer is not interested in your family background. They may just evaluate your family to have an understanding. But what is your capabilities? What is your personal choices? How you fit to the role is what they are evaluating. When you want to respond to those questions properly, the first thing first is preparing your resume right. Yeah. Once you prepare your resume right, the second thing is try to understand what is the job role. So even in the campus interviews, the job descriptions are shared. So you need to study the job description and understand what is the role demanding. whether I am fit to that. Point number one. Point two, should I go to this organization? Will I be a fit in this organization? Is the second assessment what we need to do. Yeah. When you know the organization, when you know the industry, whether industry is faring well, is it in a very competitive environment, or is it sliding down? When you have this understanding perfectly, Shashi, then both you will be confident that whatever I'm going to speak to the interviewer is going to be very confidently. And the questions you ask, it's not just the interviewer asks you a question. You're also expected to ask and then inquire what is all about. So only when you do this kind of a preparation and understand the job, organization, industry, competition, and how it is going to be, you will be confident to sit and speak. When you don't have this, you don't know what to respond, you don't know what to ask. Most of the times, the challenge with the students, what happens is the campus mein interview ho raha hai, hey, do you want to come, and then they just walk into the interview. You got my point. Hey, you have not attended, you have not even completed 3 levels. Tomorrow's interview you are attending. Why am I attending? What am I responding? If they don't have this kind of a preparation, most of the time they fail there. Prepare yourself for the every specific interview you are attending. It is not one and the same. Every interview is different. Every role is different. So you need to have a thorough understanding, and you should be able to position yourself. Why am I fit there? When you have that kind of a preparation, Shashi, everybody will be confident, I'm sure.
True. Most of the points, Sampath, that you said, I think are covered in one of the videos. I'll put the link down here. Also, one tip for you all, whoever is watching this video and who are there on the call, you can prepare yourself for an interview by doing a mock interview with AI tools nowadays. Okay. Some websites even offer you an option that you upload the JD. Okay. It will throw questions at you. You answer it. It records it and it throws back the feedback to you.
Correct.
That you were nervous at this time. You should not have spoken. In fact, people can do it with Google Gemini also. I don't know how many of them use Google Gemini, but Google Gemini has an option where you talk about a job description and ask it to ask you relevant questions and you answer those questions. So I think practice is very important, as Sampath rightly said. Preparation, practice. Without that, I don't think they should go for an interview blindly, because they'll not likely get through and they'll spoil their impression. So that's important. So I think now we'll move. So people have selected a course, they have prepared their profile, they have gone for an interview. Peter, what should a person expect from a first job? And I know it sounds very silly question, but ये movies ने पूरा बिगाड़ दिया impression, because whether it is a Telugu movie or Hindi movie, impression ये रहता है कि कॉलेज खत्म हो गया तो बस अब तो दुनिया मेरी जेब में है. अब मेरे को मतलब कोई भी नौकरी मिल जाएगी, मैं जाऊंगा, मैं हीरो बन जाऊंगा. फर्स्ट मंथ से आई बी हीरो, आई बी एन अचीवर. सो आई थिंक वो थोड़ा एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट करना जरूरी है कि आप अपने फर्स्ट जॉब से क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो एंड व्हाट शुड यू बी डूइंग आल्सो.
Nini, you're very right, Shashi. Okay, so the hard reality is, please expect routine tasks. Okay, so the first 6 months you have to think that you're going there to learn कि तुम्हारा studies continue हो रहा वहां पर. Okay, so don't think जाके I'll become the product manager. If you're a marketing specialization में गए तो सब लोग come with starry eyes thinking that I will launch a product in 1 month's time. वैसा नहीं होता. Okay. It will take some time. So what is expected from you, I'll tell you, because this is your first job. You will be given, you will join one team. So be process oriented there. Okay. Whatever you're taught stepwise, make sure you're doing that. Okay. And go there with a learning kind of an approach. Okay. Number 2, which is again missing with a lot of people, is communication matters. Okay. That means don't limit yourself to the team you get into. Okay, make sure you're communicating with a cross section of people. managers, seniors, vice presidents. Okay, you need to have that communication going so that you are able to articulate your points better. Okay, and usually a 2 minute conversation over a near the coffee counter will get your vice president to remember you. Okay, and what you do in that 2 minutes makes a difference. So get comfortable into your role. Okay, don't expect ki next day. um, the other challenge we have with youngsters is if Monday is a holiday, or if then Friday के दिन छुट्टी मार देते हैं. Okay, Friday के दिन उनका तबीयत खराब हो जाता है. Okay, so the basic expectation is that you turn up in office, be self-disciplined, be committed to the role you come for. Okay, and after that, naturally, you will be found out for better roles. Okay, so you have to first deliver the basic tasks and all of that. Okay, because from our experience, we've had pass outs from good campuses, but they've not been able to maneuver themselves in an organization. Okay, so then they fail. They become failures. Okay, so that is something. Go there to learn. The next 6 months are learning. Okay, don't think you've landed a job. मेरे को corner cabin मिल जाएगा, which is overlooking from the 12th floor. वो सब नहीं होता. Okay, what happens is a hard grind for the first 6 months, and be willing, be joyful about it. Okay, that you're going there to learn, and some seniors who are there in the system before you, please make sure you learn from them. Okay, because what you get taught in the college versus what actually happens in the organization, your seniors are the bridge for that. Okay, so that you make sure that your relationship with your seniors is good, and you yourself have a learning kind of an orientation. Go there to learn everything. Don't go back home without learning anything new that day.
So I would want to quote something from our one of the videos that we had uploaded in terms of what to do and what to expect from your first job is your first job is the foundation of your career. Okay. Whatever connections that you make, whatever skills that you acquire are always going to remain with you till the end of your career, because I till date didn't forget what I did in my first job, who my first boss was, what my first territory was. I will never forget it because all of us hold first job very dearly. And I think the connects that you make in your first job, if you have done a good job, I can assure you that your future jobs can come through your first job itself. You may not even apply anywhere because the people who grow from there might actually keep pulling you into their organizations. So consider your first job, play it as a test match and not as a T20 match, because the tendency nowadays is that everybody wants to do fast food and quick batting and move out.
So I think point there, Shashi. Also remember, when you enter into your first job, does the security guard know your name, and do you know the security guard's name? Okay, this is one more very important litmus test for you guys. Okay, if the security guard does not remember you, okay, then you've not played a impactful role in that organization. Okay, so that's something it is not connected to work, but when you take a lot of parameters and put together, also have better connectivity with the security guard, and you have to be respectful to them. Okay, so if you're greeting them warmly and respect them for what they do, even your housekeeping staff, how many of them you know them by their names?
I don't think many of them would even wish those people, and it's a good thing to wish. There's nothing wrong in it. So I think they should make it memorable. Their first job should be something like their first bike or first mobile phone in their life. It should always be a pleasant memory for them, and they can do it. So good. I think I agree on that. Sampath, so if I'm coming step by step, so now that I have joined my first job and I'm fairly comfortable and I'm doing what all Peter has said, what is the first 1 or 2 years in the job I should do so that my career is set? So a few things we have spoken, but as per your training experience, when you interact with all these youngsters, what is the advice that you want to give them that the first 1 or 2 years, because I consider them very critical. First 1-2 years तो मेरे हिसाब से बहुत ही critical होते हैं for any fresher to build his career.
No, Shashi, as you said, and also Peter was talking about, okay, this is an extended learning period for you. Yeah. From your academics, you are coming. It's a bridge for your career. When I say bridge in your career, there's a lot of learning to be done. And that learning doesn't happen in an institution. There is a curriculum and somebody teaches you. Here, all the learning happens only because of how do you explore, how proactive you are. Peter has started with the security guard to the vice president. If you observe, he was talking about how you should deal with the vice president or the head of the department, either your department or the other department, to the housekeeping staff and security. What does it mean? It means that how proactive you are, how explorative you are. Yeah, you need to explore. You might the job what you have joined first may not be your choice, may not be the one what you want to do it, but it gives you an opportunity to understand what are all the various people, how people react in situations, what kind of skills will play a better role, what kind of capabilities, competencies you need to build for the areas where you want to grow. This gives you like a paid opportunity. In the college you pay fees and then learn. Here you get your salary and then you are being. So with that, what happens, maybe you will be burdened a little. You need to do a little extra work. That should not be taken as a burden, but it should be taken as an opportunity.
Investment in career.
Absolutely. If somebody wants you to draft a mail, if somebody wants you to make a presentation, if somebody wants you to make an analysis of something, if somebody says, hey, go and interview this candidate, if somebody says, make a note on that, what I'm trying to say, every step of it is giving you an exposure. So your first job is a stepping stone. Yeah. Take it the most advantage out of it to learn whatever can make your career. You may not be in the same line in the coming days. Yeah. But the kind of competencies you pick up, the kind of the proactiveness, what you show, the kind of interaction you have with people, yeah, it's going to make a phenomenal difference. And as Peter said, maybe your initial interactions, what you had, yeah, will take you to places. The managers, either of your department or the parallel departments, they look at you and then they may pull you into different roles into the senior positions in the days to come, either in the existing organizations or in the other organizations. So maintaining relationship, being proactive, and trying to do that extra mile whenever it is required. Yeah, don't tax yourself, but in the limits what you have, you need to work, extend, explore, because this is a very explorative opportunity to understand what happens in the industry, what happens in the job. Yeah, so it's a more a preparation, it's more of a what you call a paid learning kind of a thing, even if it is a job.
So दूसरे दूसरे वर्ड्स में संपत की कॉलेज में थियोरी सेशन था, और अगर आप फर्स्ट जॉब ज्वाइन करते हो, ये आपका प्रैक्टिकल्स है.
Absolutely.
And this practicals, how you fare in this practicals will decide the future trajectory of your career.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
See, for example, I'll tell you, when you have a smartphone in your hand, yeah, you just buy a phone for one or two particular things. But as you start exploring the various apps available, as you start exploring things, you get new ideas, new these things. And in the days to come, you may become an expert in one of the two areas, isn't
True.
it? Similarly, in your first employment, you need to go and explore, get the best out of it. It's a fantastic opportunity to you.
Great. So Peter, if I join a job and I get a better offer within 1-2 months, and what would you advise?
Okay, it's a kind of double-edged. Okay, it is. That means you've joined this job without understanding in your mind and being clear in your mind that you wanted to join this. Okay, but sometimes it happens. Okay, it's a fact too. The other side, it is a fact too that you suddenly get a better opportunity. Okay. So before you take that opportunity, make sure that you're evaluating. Okay. Because what if you found something better in your first job before you spent some time there and got the whole thing going, it can happen in the next job also. Okay. So then what will happen is, in the third job, nobody will take you. Okay. So we see that actually, mostly with a lot of freshers. Okay. In 1 year's time, they worked in 3 companies. Okay. The fourth employer is not willing to touch them. So they will be out of the job market. Okay. But having said that, sometimes you really get something far better than the current one. Even before you decide, please make sure that you evaluate it correctly. Okay. For example, in the IT side, a lot of people in service companies want to join a product company. Where product companies pay better, the role is a lot more fancier, but the work is a lot more tougher. Okay. In a services company, the expectation from you is at one level. In a product company, the expectation from you is several notches above. Okay. So if you're not able to cope with the quality expectation or the output expectation or the role expectation there, then forget you getting another job. That company will tell you, boss, go find another job. Okay. So you need to weigh yourself against your competence and be realistic there. Okay. Otherwise, you will have a hard fall.
Yeah, so I think it's clear to say that if you're changing the job just because you're going to get a little bit higher salary, it may not be sensible at that stage. But if you're changing it for better reasons, that you're getting into a field that you like, or you're passionate about something, you have always wanted to work for a brand company, and you got a job in that company, maybe it's a good option. But otherwise, 1 or 2 months or 1 year is a very, very short time for a person to make a move, because in the long term, it's going to hit you back. And that small increment that you thought is going to help you might help you temporarily, but in the long run, it might hit you back. So, yeah, I think it makes sense. So, this question again twisted and turned a little, Sampath. Uh, two parts to the question. One is that when I'm deciding to shift, what should be the criteria of shifting up from one company to another or one job to another? And why should I, and how important is upskilling in my career, in the initial stages of my career?
Shashi, as I said, the first 2 years of your job is more a learning period. Okay. So, should I upskill? Yeah, based on your understanding with the day-to-day work, what you are doing, the kind of gaps you have identified, the kind of people you are coming across with the competencies, upskilling is a part of it, and I strongly recommend that. Now, when it comes to when should I jump or when should I look for change and what are the criteria to change? As Peter said, if you have not done your proper groundwork, then you just joined into an employment, you realized in your initial days, I suggest that even maybe in the first 3 months, you should take a decision and look for another employment. If your decision is wrong and you are not a fitment to that, by spending time there, you are going to spoil. But in the first 90 days, you have found the job to be interesting or is lined with you, you should stick to it at least for a year and a half or 2 years, because before that you don't learn or you don't get opportunity to understand anything. You should stick for minimum a year and a half or 2 years in your first employment. Yeah. If you want to change, as I said, immediately after joining in 30 to 35 days, if you feel that it is not your choice and you're not going to succeed there, then take a decision and then start looking for the one which fits you. But if you have continued there for a couple of months, then my strong suggestion is then try to pursue it at least for a year and a half or 2 years. Learn, add on your capabilities and look for it. Even at a year and a half or 2, when you are shifting your employment, If there is no sizable amount of remuneration or responsibility or exposure increase, I don't suggest. Yeah, कम से कम 25-30% का हाइक तो होना ही है. Yeah, for small 5-10% or 10-15%, people should not jump because it doesn't give them anything, because you need to go and do the same toil again. Instead of that, you continue here, contribute a little more, because you already picked up a lot of knowledge and skill in the area where you are working. Your growth opportunities will be better in this organization than picking up a new one. But if the new one is giving you a better work exposure or better remuneration compared to the one what you are doing, then maybe after a year and a half or two is an ideal time to choose, not before that.
I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this and hearing to us might be thinking, why 1.5, 2 years, 1.5, 2 years? Let me just clarify to them. The reason why we always insist that a person should at least work for 1.5, 2 years is so that you complete cycles. You complete a performance cycle, you complete a project cycle. Until unless you do the whole cycle and you have experience of that, you go to another place, you'll have to start again from the ground.
Absolutely.
And your exposure is limited, you take longer time, your learning curve increases. So if you don't want to do it again, like Peter said, the initial grind, it's better that you stick at a place for 1.5, 2 years, go through the whole cycle, and then you are equipped for a 25% hike. Your negotiating power increases, and then you go. Right. So, a question more in terms of giving them some tips, Peter, in terms of what would you advise few things that they should do for being successful in their first job?
Being process oriented, communication, show curiosity and initiative, be a team player, and be visible and reliable. Okay, so this is a very unique situation, Shashi and Sampath. On one side, for the entry level role, for one role you have 100 candidates. Okay, but those candidates who come in, the quality of their performance, of the percentage of the new joinees meeting the performance benchmarks are very low. Okay, so which either reflects the quality of education they've taken and come in, or the expectation of the organization. Okay, in either case, if they have these 4 or 5 traits about themselves, that they're process oriented, they're rigorous, their attendance is right up there, they take initiative, they're visible, their communication and collaboration and working with different teams is high, no good manager would want to lose such a candidate or such an employee or such a team member. Okay, so that is where you need to, and at the same time, this and from the candidate side, please understand that you are in a jungle. Okay, in a jungle, the lion is chasing you, and you and your friend are there. Okay, so the lion will catch whoever is the slower amongst you. Okay, and that's a fact. Okay, so if you are slower, your manager will get behind your skin, saying that you're not meeting the expectation and all of that stuff. Okay, but if you demonstrate these 5 or 6 traits, I'm sure your managers are going to love you. You will start off well, and like Shashi said, your first employment is something you will not forget. I still remember the first job I've done. Okay, and my first boss, I remember him very fondly. Okay, it is true. Okay, so if you have these 5 things in you, I think you will be successful. Your foundation will be set right, and then you will have choices to pick and choose.
I think the biggest challenge that freshers will have, and which I have observed, is that when you are out of college in your first job, the transition from being a student to a professional, I think that is something they need to be a little careful about, because the college mode needs to get switched off. You cannot college में तुम 9 बजे के बदले तुम 9-10 को घुसते हो और किसी से भी कैसे भी बात कर लेते हो, like the common language nowadays. Hey bro, how are you? I hope you won't do it to your boss. Then okay bro, I'll give it to you tomorrow. Some bosses may accept it, but please be careful because the bro days are good outside or in the college. Professionalism is something that you'll have to learn from day one when you go for your first job. And it starts with right what you wear, how you groom yourself, how you talk, and how you work. The remaining things I think Peter has covered extremely in detail in terms of what you do and how you do. But a professionalism थोड़ा challenge रहेगा मेरे हिसाब से because I have seen a lot of newcomers doing these mistakes. And they come dressed very casually, they talk very casually, they come आराम से ऐसा लगता है जैसे नींद से उठ के सीधा आ गए. So don't do those kind of things. So, and I am the kind of issues I have seen that I made a couple of videos on this topic on the channel also because I know that this is a problem. So thank you both of you. I think we covered all the topics that I wanted to. If there are any closing statements from your side, Peter, please do that.
Thanks, Shashi. See, for somebody who's starting off on their first job, please understand that you're being groomed. The organization does not make money out of you, at least for the first 6 months. So that means if the organization is paying you salary, giving you a system, giving you all this access, fancy coffee shops and all of that, please understand the organization is investing in you. And if you don't think that, okay, somebody is investing in me and I need to invest in myself, and don't approach your first 6 months, then you are only doing yourself a disservice. Okay. For the organization, okay, TK, thoda expense incur kar liye, that's okay, but you will not be successful. Okay. So that's something I want you all to remember. Also in choosing your course, okay, just your current course is not enough. You need to equip yourself with additional certifications, additional projects. And also one last thing, please also visualize that. Don't visualize after my graduation what job I will join. Okay, visualize after my graduation 5 years later on, where do you see yourself? Okay, and where is it that you want to see, and work with that as your target right now. Okay, so that's what I will share.
Thank you, Peter. Sampath, anything from your side? You're on mute, Sampath. Sampath, you're on mute.
Shashi, first job is a stepping stone. You have to explore, you have to learn, you have to be proactive. Agar ek bar chance miss ho gaya na, then you will not get it. So it's a fun to be employed immediately after the college. So it's a great opportunity, and that's a foundation stone or a stepping stone for your career. Don't lose it. Make the best out of it.
True. I think the only thing I want to tell from my side is that most of the people who have startups who have actually become successful in the last few years is because they identified a problem and they felt that, okay, I can solve this problem. When you are actually deciding about your career, please try to give it a thought in terms of what is that you can solve. And it could be for the society, it could be for the corporate world. If you take this approach, you are likely to succeed and opportunities will never be less for you. But if you are wanting the whole world to take care of you, then you have a problem. It should be reversed, that you identify a problem and you see that, okay, this is an area I can do good and I can help somebody or I can help people. I think career options will open up for you. So thank you, Sampath, and thank you, Peter, for this lovely conversation. And thank you for your time. Chalo. Bye-bye. Bye.
Joy. Thank you, Shashi. Thank you, everyone.